Hello, this is Mike of Nearly Enough Dice, and this is the Kerbal Space Program. Middle of the night! But that's not really relevant. Now, if you looked at the Kerbal alarm clock window in the color, it would have been up that way. You would have seen that I've got a Moho transfer coming in about 8 days. And kind of want to make it. The basic problem being that once I get into orbit, it is 5,870 meters per second of delta V required to get me there. That's quite a lot. Now, in order to get a lot of delta V out of a given amount of fuel, there are basically two ways. One is to get a nice high ISP, right? And this has 345 in vacuum. Yeah, 350 for the poodle, stuff like that. But the other way is just to have, oh, here's the spark, which is quite easy. Now this is the ants, right? Let's try the ants. What's the ants one? That's not going to work. Oh no! Wait a minute. That's atmospheric. Ooh. That is quite close already. Now the problem, of course, is that the ant has a tiny thrust to weight ratio. So, given that I'm going to have to add 5,870 meters per second to my craft, that is going to take a while. Let's put some science. I'm going to send something to if I'm going to send something to Moho, then I'm going to want as much science on it as I can. Now, I'm not going to want mystery goo. Because I'm specifically, A, because it's quite heavy. And B, because it's an experiment you can only do once. So mystery goo not going to, well, mystery goo's not that heavy. It's certainly heavier than a lot of other things. How's this? That's not going to play with it. Okay. That looks stupid, but it's not actually adding to the center of mass. That's fine. It's not a renewable. The mystery goo and the science student, they are not renewable. So what I want is to have a nice large amount of delta V. I don't quite have enough. So try this. And I haven't put solar panels on this yet. And I haven't put an antenna on this yet. default to that. What's the difference in there? It's all quite big. Now, okay, so this is well, actually, let's also put an antenna on this. Now that does change the central mass. So I actually have to be cautious of that. In fact, right. So, I'm not getting enough delta V from this engine. That's not enough. You're getting into the tyranny of the rocket equation, which is just, the more if you just add fuel to it, that's not necessarily going to fix the problem. I suddenly realised I really, yeah, I mean, just adding fuel doesn't necessarily fix the issue. Right, okay, so that's looking like that might be enough. Let's see, can we do, well, and also putting batteries on this. That's probably the next thing I need to do. Electric charge to 200, 0.01. Right, so what scientific instrument? I haven't. What am I missing now? I'm missing the atmospheric one. Slap on the side here. Looks ridiculously unbalanced, but it still works. That's fine. Now this is technically still not enough. So the question is, can I reduce? I still haven't put an aerial on this thing. Definitely going to want to fly pretty. So the questions are: can I make it lighter? Electrical power and object. Right. Charge hold 10. So my options are make the thing lighter, or just add more fuel. And making it lighter seems like a better idea, obviously. Right. So what I am in fact going to do, oh yeah, okay. Just cancel that. Not going to come up with any fancy names. Moho satellite. And we're going to head out, and because I've got a whole bunch of science that I haven't spent. So the question is, what can I get that will be useful? Now, the Z1K rechargeable battery pack might be good. Gigantor solar array might be good. Fuel cell maybe even? No. Well, that won't be useful for this mission, but it's the thing I probably want. Electronics, an accelerometer, another speed of science. Now the Communitron 8888, I think I do want. I think that's the I think that's what I need. So I'm going to research that. It gives me another scientific instrument, which is nice. I don't think I'll be using the Gigantor array because it's quite heavy. You compare it to these. Oh, no, what am I going to? Yeah, compared to these ones. 0.175, and the Gigantor is 0.3, so it's quite heavy in comparison. I think the battery, the Z1K, 0.05, slightly higher than that, but it gives me a lot of charge, which I'll probably need if I'm going to be bouncing a bunch of signals around. So let's get that. Just remember, I do not actually have infinite science. Now, nuclear propulsion. This has an absurd ISP, but it is very heavy. So the other thing I want to look for is the ion engine, which is very low thrust, but very low weight. Where is that? Where is ion? I'm pretty sure that I'm fairly sure I don't already have it. I think I would have noticed. Very tempted by advanced aerodynamics in general, because I want that 2.5 shell. So, but for this particular flight, it's not that important. I thought ion drives were on this level or thereabouts. 3.5 meter fairing. Heavy landing, field science, science tech, unmanned tech. High power electronics. Where is the ion drive? Ion propulsion, there we go. Right, okay. So Xenon. Yeah. So it requires unmanned as well. So I would need to get this one. But man, fine. Oh, I see. I think the whole point of this is a very light. Oh, so I might actually want that for a time. Okay. So I need to get precision engineering. So I have to go back a few. So we're just grabbing these to get ion propulsion. So I might want to have it. So I can then have a look at ion propulsion. That is in fact all my science. So. I can get another thing at this level, so I'm going to have a look at all of these. to have a quick look at this stuff and see if there's anything I want. Ah, the advanced reaction, big reaction wheels are quite like the idea of. Avionics hub. Well, the Werner engines. I love Werner engines. I think these are the best thing. Don't care about command modules. Although the 2.5 meter service bay is quite a neat thing that I think I would want. Sepatron. Finally get the Sepatron up here. The Sepatron's useful for all sorts of things. Advanced fuel systems, the big tank, and some RCS tank. I've not done anything. I've not made a single thing with RCS. It's kind of interesting. Ram air intake. One of the annoying things I can't make useful. I don't think I can make useful planes in for science, just science stuff, until I start getting into the turbo ramjet engine. That's another level of science ahead. Very tempted to get that just because I want the. Yeah, I'm going to get it. I say I'm very tempted, so yeah, okay. That's how tempted I am. So let's go back into the VAB. And see what we can do with ion engines. So let's make something new. So what I had started off, I'd start off with the Octo, 0.1. So this is already lighter, but it doesn't have any reaction wheel, whereas this has some reaction wheels on it. So on the one hand, it's lighter by a bit. Oop. Oh, I could go for this thing. And it's lighter, requires more electric charge. I'm not sure if I do want this. I can go up to the Hex. Slightly better reaction wheels, but uses a lot more power, so I probably don't want it. It's got better SAS ability. I was thinking I was going to need reaction wheels anyway because of the size of the thing. Just trying to work out. Because it's not that much heavier than an Octo. And Octo 2, I mean, it's heavier than Octo 2, so why don't I go for Octo 2? Slightly more electric charge. Does not, so yeah. Balances. So I have some reaction wheels on this. It's slightly heavier. This is right. That's so light. I think we have to go with it. Let's have a look at command and control and look at small remote reaction wheel 0.05. So okay. So there we go. That is going to be our core. We're going to chuck in. Oh, that's big enough. So I can literally just put 5 of these things on and get the same amount, and it would weigh the same. So just put 2 on. Now, fuel tanks. Where are my xenon tanks? That's quite good. Engines. Okay, so where is it? Where is it again? Wow. Okay. That's pretty good, actually. Right, now that's before I put any science on it or anything like that. So that's I had put batteries on it, so I don't need to put any batteries. Now the question is, what solar panels do I want? 0.3 versus 0.175, but I almost certainly want to put 2 of those on. Still much lighter. Those are much lighter, but my understanding is you really do need gigantors in order to get the ion engines to work. Now what does that do? That balks my delta V immediately. Okay, so right. Really? So not do that. Alright, what is it? Right, gigantor. Why do I want the gigantor? 24.4 per second as opposed to 1.6 per second. That's a bit of a difference. Now, on the one hand, because I need to really have 2 in order to balance it. My understanding about ion engines is you really need a gigantor in order to get the thing to work at all. So ion engines take up a lot of they take a lot of energy to function. So at this stage, I'm mostly you know, it's mostly about taking the solar panels to make the ion engine work. It's also quite expensive, all of this. Right, let's grab some science. Let's put science everywhere. Scientific instruments, as far as I'm aware, do not affect the center of mass. So. Oh, snap the communitron on. Chuck them on the probe itself, just because I know I'm better at knowing where they are. I'm also going to want a fair amount of electric power, because I'm going to be doing. This is all obviously going to be transmitted. This science ain't never coming back, or this probe ain't never coming back. Is that everything? Oh, except the ridiculously large, looks like it could not possibly fit that thing there. That has radically more than it needs, but not, I believe, more than. I don't believe that's going to be able to bring it back. Because according to this, Goes up to 14,000. Well, having said that, I just get rid of the right. In order to come back, in order to get there and come back, it's 9,224 once it's in orbit. So maybe I can. Well, allegedly that will. I mean, this is a very expensive craft already. Allegedly, this will get back. Now, thrust to weight ratio is very small. So if I'm going to launch this, it's going to be that very complicated multiple burns at periaps, which I don't know how to do. I also have to get the right angle and the right timing, which I don't know how to do. Which, well, I haven't done before. There are various things online that enable you to calculate this. So yeah, combining those two things. But as you can see, this is already costing 61 grand, which is, I mean, I've got a ton of money, so it's not that bad. Yeah, I'm really not sure. Well, we'll save that anyway. And basically what I would do is chuck that under a fairing. Not the 2.5 meter one. That's actually not how I'd want to do it. So I'm just going to try again. Fairly pointy. And then I would build, my actual lifting stage up under there. That's only a ton. Yeah, so I could probably just take one of my existing lifters, but I really do not know how to fly this thing. And maybe there are adjustments. I mean, could I have somehow made this so it only had one gigantic? I'm pretty sure it would have been horribly off balance. That wouldn't work. So I'm just going to save that and then put a lifting on it and see if I can get that into orbit and then decide what I'm going to do. In theory, I have just about enough to get to Moho and get back, but I think that actually just not taking into account any plane changes that I need to make, so there could be all sorts of other issues. Anyway, I hope it's been at least interesting, kind of working through the mechanics of what you need to do in order to create a something that is capable of taking something to Moho. Moho is apparently the most difficult one to get to. So it's a bit of a pity that's the first one to come up on my encounter list. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that. Like and subscribe if you've been enjoying these videos. Find Nearly Enough Dice at nearlyenoughdice.com. We're also on Facebook and Twitter. And yeah, until next time, reach for the stars, or at the very least Moho.